For years, when Burkina Faso's national football team, the Étalon, the Stallions, played a home match, home was not actually home. It was a stadium in a neighboring country, sometimes hundreds of kilometers from Burkina soil. A national team forced to play what should have been their most important matches, the ones in front of their own supporters, on borrowed ground, under someone else's flag, in front of someone else's crowd. This is not a minor logistical inconvenience. For a nation, football carries weight that extends far beyond 90 minutes on a pitch. It is identity. It is pride. It is one of the few arenas where a small, landlocked, historically overlooked country can stand directly against the largest nations on earth and be judged purely on merit. And Burkina Faso had been quietly, repeatedly denied that arena on its own soil. That changes now. In Bobo-Dioulasso, Burkina Faso's second-largest city, a 15,000-seat covered stadium is being assembled, not built in the traditional slow multi-year construction sense, but assembled using advanced prefabricated aluminum and steel systems that are compressing what would normally take years into a fraction of the time. This is the story of why the Étalons will never have to leave home again. To understand why a stadium project carries this much symbolic and practical weight, you need to understand exactly why Burkina Faso's national team found itself playing home matches outside the country in the first place. International football governance, through FIFA and the Confederation of African Football, maintains strict infrastructure and security standards for venues hosting official competitive matches, World Cup qualifiers, Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, and other internationally sanctioned competitions. These standards cover everything from pitch quality and drainage systems to seating capacity, floodlighting, broadcast infrastructure, and critically, security certification for the surrounding venue and region. Burkina Faso's existing stadium infrastructure, much of it dating to earlier decades, and maintained without the kind of sustained, large-scale capital investment that newer facilities elsewhere on the continent had received, increasingly struggled to meet these evolving certification standards. Layer onto this the security situation that has defined significant portions of Burkina Faso over the past several years, the same insurgent activity that has required the kind of dual-mandate farmer-soldier strategy examined elsewhere in this broader documentary series, and international football authorities became increasingly reluctant to certify Burkinabe venues for matches drawing the large crowds, extensive broadcast coverage, and visiting international delegations that competitive fixtures attract. The practical result was a national humiliation playing out in full view of the football-watching world. Burkina Faso, a nation with genuine footballing pride and a national team that has produced moments of real continental success, was forced to relocate its home fixtures to neighboring countries. Its own supporters required to travel across borders simply to watch their national team play what should have been a home match, while the team itself lost the structural advantage that playing in front of a genuinely home crowd on familiar ground provides. Football analysts and sports psychologists have long documented the measurable competitive advantage that home field advantage provides. The energy of a supportive crowd, the comfort of familiar conditions, the simple logistical ease of not having to travel internationally before a major competitive fixture. For Burkina Faso, the loss of this advantage compounded an already difficult competitive position. International qualification campaigns are demanding enough without a national team being forced to treat every single fixture, including the ones officially designated as home matches, as effectively an away game requiring international travel, unfamiliar accommodation, and a crowd that, however passionate Burkinabe traveling supporters might be, could never replicate the scale and energy of a genuine home crowd inside Burkina Faso's own borders. Beyond the competitive disadvantage, the symbolic weight carried its own significance, particularly within the broader context of the sovereignty-focused national transformation that Captain Ibrahim Traoré's government has pursued across nearly every other sector examined throughout this documentary series. A nation actively redefining its relationship with foreign dependency in agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and mining. A nation that has built its own rice processing facilities, paved its own roads with its own machinery, and constructed a 35-story skyscraper without a single foreign development loan, found itself unable to host its own national football team's home matches on its own soil. This contradiction did not escape notice within Burkina Faso, a country building food sovereignty, energy sovereignty, and technological sovereignty was being denied something as fundamental as sporting sovereignty, the basic ability to host its own national team in front of its own people. The response to this gap followed a pattern that should be familiar from nearly every other sector of Burkina Faso's transformation. Identify the structural problem. Identify the fastest and most cost-effective path to solving it. and execute with a sense of urgency that conventional development timelines rarely match. For the Bobo Dioulasso Stadium project, that path led to a partnership with Turkey's Integral Group, a company specializing in advanced prefabricated aluminum and steel construction systems, specifically designed to dramatically accelerate large structure assembly compared to traditional construction methods. This represents a deliberate departure from the conventional model of stadium construction across much of the African continent, where major sporting venues have historically been built through lengthy traditional construction processes, frequently financed through foreign development loans carrying multi-year timelines and the kind of bureaucratic delays that have characterized large-scale African infrastructure projects for decades. The prefabricated approach inverts this timeline. Rather than constructing the stadium's structural elements entirely on site through traditional methods, major structural components, the roof trusses, the seating framework, the covering systems, are manufactured in advance under controlled industrial conditions and then transported and assembled on site, dramatically compressing the construction timeline while maintaining rigorous quality and engineering standards. This is precisely why Traore's government emphasizes the specific word assembled rather than simply built when describing the project. A linguistic distinction that captures a genuinely different construction philosophy, one optimized for speed and certainty of delivery, rather than the open-ended, frequently delayed timelines that have characterized comparable projects elsewhere on the continent. Speed alone would mean little if it came at the cost of the certification standards that made the stadium necessary in the first place. Burkina Faso's government understood this distinction clearly, and the project's quality assurance process reflects it. Rather than simply accepting manufacturer specifications on faith, a Burkinabe delegation traveled directly to Turkey to inspect the production lines themselves, personally verifying the materials, the manufacturing quality, and critically, ensuring that the synthetic turf being produced for the pitch meets FIFA's specific certification standards. This hands-on verification approach mirrors the same personal, direct engagement that has characterized Traore's broader leadership style across every sector of Burkina Faso's transformation. The same instinct that sends him personally into tomato fields to inspect harvests, that brought him to personally touch the cans at a tomato processing plant inauguration, that led him to personally inspect the optical sorting machines at the Kamsila rice facility. For the stadium project specifically, this verification process carries particular weight because the entire point of the undertaking is to finally achieve the FIFA and CAF certification that previous Burkinabe venues had struggled to maintain. A stadium built quickly, but failing to meet certification standards would simply recreate the same fundamental problem the project was designed to solve. Burkina Faso would still be unable to host its own home matches, only now with a brand new, expensively constructed venue sitting empty of official competitive fixtures. The direct delegation inspection process represents Burkina Faso taking ownership not just of the construction timeline, but of the quality assurance process itself, rather than depending entirely on foreign manufacturer assurances about whether the final product would actually meet the standards required. The stadium's specific capacity, 15,000 seats, reflects a deliberate scaling decision rather than an arbitrary number. This capacity positions the facility appropriately for Bobo Dioulasso specifically, Burkina Faso's second-largest city, ensuring the stadium can host significant domestic league fixtures, regional competitions, and a meaningful portion of the international fixtures that previously had to be relocated abroad, without requiring the kind of massive capital investment that a significantly larger national stadium would demand. The covered design element matters beyond simple spectator comfort. A fully covered stadium provides protection from the intense Sahelian sun during day matches, and from seasonal rainfall, extending the practical usability of the venue across a wider range of conditions and match scheduling options than an uncovered facility would allow. Beyond football specifically, a venue of this scale and certification standard creates infrastructure capacity for a broader range of events, regional sporting competitions, large-scale public gatherings, and the kind of major event hosting capability that contributes to a city's broader economic and cultural profile, extending the stadium's value well beyond its primary function as a football venue. This mirrors a broader pattern visible across Burkina Faso's infrastructure transformation. Major projects designed not merely to solve a single narrow problem, but to create flexible, durable capacity that serves multiple purposes and beneficiaries over an extended operational lifetime, similar to how the Bagre and Samandeni reservoirs serve simultaneously as irrigation infrastructure, power generation capacity, and fish farming operations. Consider the concrete competitive implications of regaining certified home venue access for Burkina Faso's national team and broader football development pipeline. International qualification campaigns for World Cup qualification, for Africa Cup of Nations qualification, typically run across extended periods involving multiple home and away fixtures against regional rivals. The competitive advantage of genuine home support across these fixtures compounds over an entire qualification campaign, not merely within a single match. A national team that can finally count on the energy of a genuine home crowd, the comfort of training and competing on familiar terrain, and the elimination of the additional travel burden that playing home matches abroad imposed, enters every qualification campaign with a structural advantage that previous generations of Burkinabe players were simply denied. Beyond the senior national team specifically, a certified modern stadium facility in Bobo Dioulasso creates infrastructure capacity that benefits the broader football development pipeline, youth competitions, women's football fixtures, and the kind of domestic league infrastructure that over time contributes to developing the next generation of Burkinabe footballing talent within a genuinely professional competitive environment. This developmental dimension matters particularly given Burkina Faso's football history. The Etalons have produced moments of genuine continental success, including reaching the final of the Africa Cup of Nations, demonstrating that footballing talent and ambition were never the limiting factor. Infrastructure access, certification barriers, and the resulting forced relocation of home fixtures represented a structural constraint entirely separate from playing talent, precisely the kind of solvable infrastructure problem that Traoré's broader development philosophy has targeted across every other sector. The Bobo Dioulasso Stadium represents the most visible component of a broader question that Burkina Faso's sovereignty-driven transformation raises across the sporting sector generally. What does genuine sporting sovereignty actually require beyond a single certified venue? The same redirected gold mining revenue, the same nationalized resource wealth that funded agricultural transformation, infrastructure expansion, energy sovereignty initiatives, and the educational power infrastructure examined throughout this broader documentary series, represents a financing model that could, in principle, extend toward broader sporting infrastructure investment, training facilities, youth academy development, and the kind of sustained sporting infrastructure investment that translates short-term venue access into long-term competitive development. The prefabricated, rapidly assembled construction model, proven through the Bobo Dioulasso partnership with Turkey's Integral Group, also establishes a template that could, in principle, be replicated for additional venues across other Burkinabe cities, extending certified sporting infrastructure capacity beyond the single Bobo Dioulasso facility toward a more genuinely distributed national sporting infrastructure network. This would mirror the decentralization principle visible across healthcare, with the Gawa University Hospital extending advanced medical capacity beyond Ouagadougou, and across education, with solar-powered campus infrastructure and the Esquire City University project extending educational capacity into multiple regional centers, rather than concentrating everything exclusively in the capital. Whether this broader sporting infrastructure expansion materializes at the scale and pace that has characterized Burkina Faso's agricultural and infrastructure transformation remains to be seen. But the Bobo Dioulasso Stadium establishes both the construction methodology and the underlying sovereignty philosophy that would make such expansion a logical extension of the broader national transformation already underway. It is worth pausing to consider why a stadium project carries this much weight within the broader narrative of Burkina Faso's national transformation, beyond the purely sporting and competitive dimensions already examined. Football occupies a unique position in contemporary African national identity, frequently serving as one of the most visible, widely shared arenas through which a nation's broader self-image and international standing gets expressed and experienced by ordinary citizens who may have limited direct connection to the agricultural, infrastructure, or mining sector. Transformations happening elsewhere in the country. The farmer in a remote irrigation perimeter benefiting from the agro-pastoral offensive may never personally visit the Burkindi skyscraper rising in Ouagadougou. A construction worker laying asphalt under the Faso Mayabo road-building initiative may never directly interact with the Gawa University Hospital's medical infrastructure. But nearly every Burkinabe citizen, across every region, every economic circumstance, and every direct connection to the broader sovereignty transformation, experiences the national football team's fortunes as a shared, unifying national experience. Watching matches together, celebrating victories together, and previously experiencing the particular indignity of watching their national team's home matches broadcast from a stadium in another country together. The Bobo Dioulasso Stadium, in this sense, represents a form of sovereignty restoration that reaches a uniquely broad cross-section of the Burkinabe population directly, regardless of their specific connection to the agricultural, infrastructure, or industrial transformations happening simultaneously elsewhere in the country. It is sovereignty experienced collectively, through shared sporting identity, rather than sovereignty experienced individually, through a specific economic or infrastructure benefit. For years, when the Etalons played a home match, home was somewhere else. A stadium across a border. A crowd that could never fully replicate the energy of genuine home support. A national team forced to treat its own home fixtures as away games, absorbing the competitive disadvantage and the symbolic indignity in equal measure. That indignity is ending. Assembled in Bobo Dioulasso through advanced prefabricated construction technology, verified directly by a Burkina delegation that traveled to Turkey to inspect the production lines themselves, built to the FIFA certification standards that previous Burkina venues had struggled to maintain. 15,000 seats. A covered roof protecting against Sahelian sun and seasonal rain. A construction timeline compressed through prefabrication technology, rather than stretched across the kind of multi-year, foreign loan-dependent timeline that has characterized comparable projects elsewhere on the continent. This stadium follows the exact same pattern that has defined every other sector of Burkina Faso's transformation under Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Identify a structural gap where the previous system left Burkinabe citizens, in this case an entire national footballing identity, without something other nations took for granted. Find the fastest, most cost-effective path to closing that gap. Execute with verification and urgency rather than bureaucratic delay. A nation that rebuilt its food sovereignty, its energy sovereignty, and its infrastructure sovereignty has now rebuilt its sporting sovereignty as well. The Etalons will train on Burkinabe soil. They will compete in front of Burkinabe crowds. They will carry the weight of an entire nation's footballing pride without first crossing a border to do it. Home is home again, and the Stallions are never leaving it.